Welcome back. Now, Justice and Correctional Services Minister Ronald Lamola says that parolees who continue to commit heinous crimes is a cause for concern. Lamola says that his department is making efforts to break the cycle of crime through successful reintegration of ex-offenders from prison into society. The minister was delivering his department's budget speech in Parliament yesterday, and he also told Parliament that there has been improvement over the medium-term strategic framework in line with the National Development Plan to deliver high-quality services in support of government priorities. Now, Lamola says that his department's performance has also improved by 19% since 2020-21 financial year. And Minister Lamola joins us now virtually to have a further discussion about all of this. Minister, good morning, and thanks so much for joining us here on Morning Live.
Good morning, Sakina, and to the viewers.
And perhaps just for the benefit of the viewers, Minister, can we just start with the substantiation of the Department of Correctional Services' improved performance?
Thank you, Sakina. Indeed, the department's performance has improved significantly from 70% in 2021 to an 89% in the current financial year. And in the current MTSF period, we have served about 372 million in the fiscus through the self-sufficiency program that the department is implementing, which has increased exponentially the production workshops of the department, the productions in farms, the production in the various work streams of the departments where inmates work and gain also skill, like production of eggs, production of vegetables, production of meat. So all those have improved, and as a result, it has led to significant saving to the state, but also the inmates have gained valuable skills which they can use when they exit our facilities back into society, like welding, like agriculture, and so forth. So this is a significant improvement, and it has turned around the fortunes of the department, because also with the AG's report in the last 2 financial years, the department has received an unqualified audit report. You will remember that the department for a number of years had never received an unqualified audit report. All its reports were qualified. So this is huge improvement from the department, both in performance and also on things that our inmates population in terms of rehabilitation, you can feel it and you can see.
So, Minister, as you say, the past 2 financial years, unqualified reports. So where are the shortcomings from obtaining clean audits for the department?
Yeah, the AG has pointed to a number of them, which are matters that we will definitely respond to further train our employees in the field, in the financial space and the supply chain, to further deal with some of the challenges in terms of infrastructure, which we work with the Department of Public Works, but also continue to improve on the issue of low escape. You will realize that out of a population of about 152 plus minus 152,000 inmates, in the last financial year, only 27 escaped. So there is also a significant improvement even there. So there is a sign that the department has indeed turned the corner. We just now to work on those matters for us to receive a clean audit. And we are hopeful that being the last year of our financial of the current MTSF period and of the current administration, we will want to go out with a clean audit.
So when you talk about capacity of staff training, again, in that aspect, are you able to identify where the weaknesses lie? And I ask this question, Minister, based on a general assessment, if you look at what happens across departments, across municipalities and the like, and very often we hear that, people need to be trained, but are we not supposed to be appointing people who actually know what to do?
Yeah, we do that. We appoint people who know what to do, but in any job, continuous learning is relevant, because as you are aware, they are changing accounting standards, the AG's regulations and so forth. So that's why we continuously train our employees in that respect. And from almost after every AG's findings and reports, we then take it back to give feedback to the senior management, we then castigate it down to all the employees in the department to be in line with the current trends and development. And that has helped us to improve significantly in that regard.
So, of course, that's something that we can talk about again at a later stage, because I want to touch on a few other things as well, Minister. You touched on it slightly. The last financial year, a total of 27 inmates escaping from your facilities. And, of course, the public would argue that one escape from a lawful custody is one too many. So how are you working towards strengthening security and adherence to standard operating procedures in order to prevent this?
Yes, indeed, one is one too many. Hence, we continue to improve in that regard, particularly in terms of technology. One of the things we are looking into is the signal jamming that we're working with the CSIR and looking at other available technologies in the market that will help us, particularly with the contrabands related to how inmates use technology, cell phones, and so forth. As you will know, it's a big challenge in our facilities. But if we could find something that could jam these cell phones, which the CSIR is helping us to work on, it will definitely also significantly decrease the level which inmates they're able to communicate with the outside world, including to plan some of these escapes and some of the nefarious activities that they get involved in. So we are we are dealing with that at a level of technology, including the body scanners that we are now repairing and putting into use across our facilities across the country, because some of the contrabands come through visitors who visit their relatives, friends, and so forth. And from time to time, they get arrested. But when we can be able to then add a technological eye, we believe that will also help significantly reduce, because in some of the centers where we've already installed these body scanners, there's a huge improvement.
And some of the contraband gets in through your employees, employed by the Department of Correctional Services, Minister. How are you dealing with that particular aspect?
Yes, in that regard, when we receive, for example, the contrabands or the cell phones, if there is evidence that it has come through the officials, hence there are officials about 26 that have undergone disciplinary processes, and some of them have been dismissed for such activities. So we have got a zero tolerance. If that is found to be the case, they go through discipline and they get dismissed. And we continuously raise awareness through what we have now reintroduced again, the morning parade of our officials. When they start their shift, they are reminded of all the operating procedures with regards to cell phones, with regards to all the issues of management of inmate and the standard operating procedures. And any breach is followed by consequences.
Minister, just a quick one on the self-sustainability of the facilities, the SSSF framework. So let's talk about that very quickly, because I looked at, the report, because unfortunately wasn't able to listen to you, but did have an opportunity to read through it. And, you spoke about eggs, for example, the fact that the department didn't have to buy any eggs because you've become totally self-reliant in that respect as correctional services. But 9.4 million kilograms of vegetables, 482,000 kilograms of fruit, 425,000 kilograms of red meat, etc., for all the facilities. And just again, how exactly are you getting all of these in, and the budget for this? And I ask this, and I also just want to put something else across to you, and I want you to respond to it, because at a time when many South Africans are actually struggling, people are looking at this, and of course you have to feed your prison population, but how do you explain it to South Africans who may be less understanding of what is going on in this situation?
Is that the prisoners are feeding themselves. Those eggs, Sakina, they produce themselves, and all that what you have just mentioned, the red meat, the cabbages, is them working in our agricultural facilities. Even the uniform, they produce it themselves. Now we have revived the workshop in Witbank, which now produces the uniform, and also across the country in Polsmo and many parts of the country, and also giving them the machines that they need to produce the uniforms. And that also helped to also produce the uniform of officials in Witbank, for example. So they are feeding themselves. That is what we mean when we self-sustainable, that we are able to produce on our own. And they are not only producing, they are also gaining available skill, for example, in agriculture and sewing and so forth, so that when they leave our facility, they have a skill which they can contribute to the economy, either as a plumber or either as a farmer, and so forth. So that also includes bakeries. We have also ramped up bakeries across the country. We produce a bread at about 6 rand 68 cents, which is far lower in terms of price in the market. And they also use that bread. They also produce that bread to eat for themselves. So that is how the public should see it, that we are making them to work for their own food. They produce themselves, while the department does indeed provide the suppliers that they use. But when you look at the bread, for example, which we produce at 6 rand 68 cents, so the amount is far lower than in the market, and the fact that they are working for it themselves, it's also a way of them repaying back to society and to the community. But also they do a number of public works initiatives outside, where, for example, they've built a house in Gwanongoma for a person who is a victim of crime. And they also work in the number of parts of the country, so that they can repay to society, and also in that process also participate in reintegration, where society see them working for them, and that also create an atmosphere of them being rehabilitated, but also of them beginning to reintegrate and re-engage with society as and when they perform in such kind of public work initiatives.
Minister, we are literally 30 seconds to news, so I need you to answer this for me very quickly. With regard to the Mangaung Correctional Facility, what is the status of that particular situation, given that the contract with that particular company that was running the center was actually terminated? How far are you, and what is the latest there? In 30 seconds or less, please.
Yes, we are at the stage of assessing our capability, and in the period of 90 days, we believe we will be ready to take over the facility.
Well, Minister, thank you so much. That was the Minister of Correctional Services and Justice, Minister Ronald Lamola, there, talking to us about his department's budget speech. And of course, as you hear there, a big part of this is, of course, to do with the self-sustainability of these facilities, and also getting skills passed on to some of the inmates.